So our next question is, should we remove, reform, or keep the Electoral College?
I think we should remove the Electoral College. The fact that a minority of our country can control policies that will impact all of us is absolutely absurd. I think we should have a more fair democracy, a more direct democracy, and that is with majority rule through the popular vote. Thank you.
Well, I do not support abolishing the Electoral College. I support reforming the Electoral College. I believe that our election system needs to represent the will of the people of the United States of America, but abolishing the Electoral College will not do so because it will give people in big cities advantage over the people in the small cities, and they need to be represented too. I support kind of switching over to an electoral process where the electoral votes in that state, like Maine and Nebraska do it, they would be able to basically split their electoral votes based on the popular vote within that state, because that would be more fair to the small states and to the popular vote. Thank you.
I'm in favor of reforming the Electoral College because I think that it shouldn't, because places that have less people shouldn't be at a disadvantage compared to places like Los Angeles or New York just because they have more people. So I think that we need to find a way that makes it more fair and to make sure our country is run correctly. Thank you.
We will actually be offering now 2 minutes of time to speak for your open discussion.
I actually did a report on this, and I found out that in California, your vote counts almost, I think it's 40 times less than a vote in Wyoming, and that's unjust. It just does not make sense given our population size. We should not be underrepresented in the United States election. But at the same time, the Electoral College gives those small states, just like small delegations in our program, that equitable voice in the election process. So I think that while keeping their voice in the process, while also making the elections more kind of, they line up with the popular vote. So for example, the plan I'm proposing would give those states their electoral votes based off the popular vote within those states.
Well, I think when the Electoral College was created, it was created because the people of the country weren't entrusted with deciding the president. And I think we've proven throughout history that the common people are smart and the common people know what's best for them. And while I understand why the Electoral College is important in representing smaller states, we can look at other ways of doing that without keeping the Electoral College. I think we should abolish it first, and then we can look for ways to improve our system. Thank you.
I think that if we don't have a plan for how we're going to solve our elections and we just get rid of it, that's going to throw our country into a mess. And I think that we need to have a plan before, and I think that splitting up the state's electoral votes based on their popular vote within the state is the best way to do it.
We will now be moving on to the next question.
This was submitted by Flip, Female Leaders in Power, and they asked, what is one gender inequality issue that you believe is the most pervasive and impactful in our society?
I think that in our society, equal pay for equal work regardless of gender, I completely support that. And I think that your work should not be defined by your gender, and I think that's a huge issue in California and the rest of the country, and we need to address that. Thank you.
One big gender inequality issue that we see in our country is the tampon tax. The fact that because of your reproductive system, you have to pay way more for basic necessities and it's like toilet paper. It's something you need to survive and be a cleanly human. The fact that it's taxed as a luxury is absolutely absurd. I also think the transgender ban that exists right now is a form of gender discrimination that is wrong, and we need to make sure that we are allowing all genders to participate in the military because that is what they wish to do, and that is best serving our country. Thank you.
I think one issue that is definitely very pervasive as far as gender is bathroom signs. You know, it's something very generic and basic, but I think that, when someone goes to the restroom, they may not identify as a man or a woman, but they have to sit there and decide, which one do I go into, and that becoming a whole ordeal. So I think that's very important. Thank you.
I'd like to ask a follow-up question, Bob. Do you think that gender-neutral restrooms in public places would be preferable to having gendered restrooms? I
think gender-neutral restrooms are the most respectful way to just tackle the issue for everyone. It provides a broad perspective on which restroom you'd like to use, and it makes it easier for everyone just to go into whichever one.